Ilsa, from liberty to liberty. Ilsa, my aunt, was born in a small Czech village called Března. She was born as an only child, but that didn't last for long, because their house soon became filled with kids. And guess who had to take care of every last one of them? Me! Hey, you don't have to take care of me. They all lived on a farm, and therefore they always had food. But they had to work a lot to get this food. When Hitler ordered an invasion of Sudetenland, no one in the village knew about it. So when a German army passed through the village, because of course they wanted to save them, everyone was surprised. And once they were gone, there was nothing left in the shop. There's nothing. I'm here, you fool. Whatever. Hey, your parents said that you should go to Stiti and take some train to Germany. What? But I don't know nothing about it. And so she went on this mysterious trip. First she went on a foot to Stiti. Then she boarded some special night train. She spent 3 days in total on this train. They stopped in Berlin, Hanover, until they finally arrived to Wittenberg. Here, Mrs. Stutt and her kids were waiting for her. Mrs. Stutt had a small cafe in a town, and because her husband died in a war, she hated the regime. Little Ilsa liked it here. She got her own bedroom and a nice family. But it wasn't all that great. Ilsa was constantly scared that she'll never see her family ever again. She even cried a couple times. Every time, way before the sunrise, Hitlerjugend was in the streets doing something, and every time Hitler or other Nazi was on the radio, which was kinda often, Mrs. Stutt immediately turned it off. After 3 weeks, Ilsa was finally released and sent back home. She stayed in contact with Mrs. Stutt, but unfortunately, one day, she just stopped responding. When World War II started, things started to get a bit grim. Germany started to use food stamps, and because Ilsa's family was producing extensive amount of food, they were only allowed to keep as much as people that were dependent on food stamps. The Reich also started a few programs for demagoguing human brains, like when all village had to go watch some German propaganda. Sometimes it was about their victories or how great is the German Reich, which people were kinda willing to accept. But sometimes it was about the Jews, and especially Ilsin's dad was skeptic about it, because he knew some of them and knew that they were honest people. But what could he have done? Then, throughout the years, especially after the invasion of the USSR, things started to be even tougher for Ilsin's family. Because now, with such an army in the east, you wouldn't get as much food from the food stamps as you used to get. And you could be even charged for keeping more food than you should. And people respected this law, because if some neighbor would see you baking some cake, he could just say to the local police and you would find yourself in a hassle. Then Germany started losing the war. At the beginning, no one believed it. But when the front was closer and closer, and the Reich even started sending kids and old men to war, everybody knew it was over. They even sent my cousin and my dad. Not even the propaganda worked as it used to. Germany is winning on every front. Oh, wrong image. Oh, wrong image again. Sure, we have no image of Germany winning. Germany just capitulated. Why? It's no surprise to me. Well, now when we know, then the Russians are coming. Let's bake them something. And what's gonna happen when the Russians will come, you'll see in the next part. And also, if you have some unanswered questions, just ask in the comments.